Hey guys, it's iDaniel here again, and this is a review on Need for Speed Nitro for the Wii. Now, for those of you who haven't heard about Need for Speed Nitro, Need for Speed Nitro is the newest introduction into the Need for Speed franchise. Now, this game is only for the Wii and DS. You will not be able to get it on PC, PS3, or Xbox 360. The reason being is they decided to split. EA decided to split the development on the game, so they split the team into two. Slightly Mad Studios developed Need for Speed Shift, and EA Montreal developed Nitro. So one was developed overseas, and the other one was developed here in Canada. Basically, with Need for Speed Nitro, they were able to spend more time tweaking the game so it would work better on the Wii, so they could have a solid 60 frames, still have some pretty decent looking visuals for Wii standards, and overall have a really fun game and more targeted for the casual market and more so kids. Now, with that saying, the gameplay of the game, considering, you know, I'm 19, and this game is actually still a lot of fun for a racing game. You know, I'm more into the simulation racing games and more into shooters, but this is actually a pretty fun game. It's a good pick up and play. I barely play the Wii already as it is, so for me, like, I don't even like the system this much, and for a game for me to actually pick up the system and play this game, it's actually a pretty good game. The game's a lot of fun. It's really easy to pick up. Literally within the first 5 minutes of any racing game, it's really easy to pick up and play. You hit the gas, hit the brake, and you steer. Not much different than any other racing game, besides the fact this is a arcadic game, not a simulation game like Shift. So pretty much this game, it's really easy to drift. You're meant to drift around corners to build boost, and you constantly build boost by driving on the wrong side of the road, drafting behind guys, and, you know, getting air and things like that. So by getting boost, by using the boost, you can go faster, and you're going to want the boost to stay in first, because your opponents, you can, I think, even up to 8 opponents at a time, they will be doing everything they can to run you off the road and try to get first. So by being in first, you also gain points. These points go towards, in the end result of the race, by coming in first, second, or third, you're awarded stars. Third is 1 star, second is 2 stars, first is 3 stars. Now that's out of 5. So to get the other 2 stars, well, 1 star is that you beat the lap time. So every lap has a set time. And if you beat that lap time, then you will get a star for that. And also, you get another star for getting so many points on the race. So say a race has a limit of 25,000 points. Well, if you get more than that, you get a star. You get these points by staying in first, using Nitro, getting air, drifting, and also driving on the wrong side of the road. Anything you can, really. Anything that builds Nitro also builds your points. So, what do these stars go to, you might be asking? Well, these stars, they go towards unlocking new cars, unlocking new tracks in more cities, and more upgrades to your cars. Now, you can't upgrade the physical speed of your car, but you can change the way your car looks. So there's body kits, rims, and there's also hoods, hood scoops, spoilers, and all the stuff you could throw on your car you want. Now, with that in mind, you can also, with staying into the customization, it's very different from the typical Need for Speed, because now with the Wii mode, it's more like a mouse. So you can actually just like sit there and spray paint the car however way you want, and just like stick a whole bunch of vinyls wherever you want. And it's really easy, because it's not like you have to go into all these menus like you did in like Forza or Need for Speed Shift to put vinyls in the way you want them. You just kind of move the Wii mode wherever you want, you just stick them there, and you just stamp all over your car, you spray paint all over your car, you just doodle on your car pretty much, and it's like a giant coloring board your car. So that's kind of neat, but I'm not really into all that stuff, so I just like my cars one color, so I just painted my Camaro all yellow and white, so yeah. But you could do that, and you could have fun with that, just sit there and doodle with your car, if you're into that customization thing. Now, when you are done spending the however long you take to customize your car, you're eventually going to play the game. So once you go actually play the game, you're going to turn, and the fact is the game's not very hard, so it's not a hard game, but it's not an easy game at the same time. It's not like incredibly easy. You'll just be sitting there and be like, I'm bored. This is like retardedly easy. Every race you'll be coming in first. Now, the thing is, once you get in first, it's actually pretty easy to stay there. But getting into first sometimes could be a little bit of a challenge due to cop cars, which they are Hummers sometimes, and also because of opponents. And, you know, sometimes if you don't know the track, it's a little bit difficult because these tracks just, because when you're going so fast, corners just come out of nowhere. So that does make the game a little difficult. And another thing that makes the game difficult is the fact that you only have one camera view. Now, most of you might be thinking, well, why do you need any other camera view than third person? Well, I know a lot of people, including myself, I like to drive either in car or bumper cam. Or even if it's a third person, I like it so it's a fixed third person. It's not the way this one works. This one, as the car speeds up, the camera angle moves back and lower, so you see more of the rear end of your car, which I wouldn't like to see. I'd like to see where I'm going, not the back of my car. So it kind of sucks in drag races and time trials, because in time trials you're really trying to dial in the best time, and you kind of need to see where you're going. And the speed trap races, there's cop cars set up there, road blockades, and you're trying to whip down the street, and all of a sudden you just smack a cop car because you couldn't see it, or you smack a center island in the road because you couldn't see it because of the camera angle. Now, that's a huge problem, and that's going to cause you to restart races a lot, especially for these races. So, there's no way I can, there's no other camera view. I've pushed every button and looked through the manual, there's no other camera view, which kind of sucks. But, besides that, the game's pretty good, and it's actually kind of neat, though, how the camera angle works, and it looks cool when you're, like, blasting down the street, except for when you hit something that you didn't know was coming. But overall, like it's pretty good, like with that. Now, talking with the controls of the game, you know, the Wii Motion. You hold the controller sideways, or if you had the steering wheel thing from Mario Kart, you just hold like the wheel and you push, you know, the number 2 button for gas and number 1 for brake, and you just turn the controller like a steering wheel. Now, the problem I found with this is that, well, as everyone knows, the Wii is not all that accurate. And I found sometimes all of a sudden I turn the steering wheel, or I turn my Wii controller, and the car doesn't really turn, it just goes straight on. And I smack into a wall, and, well, there goes my opponent passing me. Or I try to drift it, and I have the thing cranked over, and all of a sudden the car thinks, oh no, you're not drifting anymore, I'm just going to go straight. Now, that's just faults of the Wii controller, and just not really the game's fault. It's just the Wii controller not being very accurate. It could just be where I have my Wii, my sensor bar set up, but that's what I found. So, a way to fix this is the game also supports a GameCube controller, and a GameCube controller works perfectly. So, I recommend getting a GameCube controller for the game. So besides those 2 problems, camera view and GameCube controllers, the downfalls of the game is actually quite good. So now, going on to the topic of graphics, which is not really a topic you talk about on the Wii, but for Wii standards, and you know what, the game actually looks pretty decent. If you throw it on S-Video or in the HD mode it has, with the component cables, the game actually looks pretty clean. There's no edges, which a lot of the modern games have now, is a lot of edging, so it actually has anti-aliasing. The game also runs at a silky speed of 60 frames per second, so there's no hiccups, ever. And a lot of you might say, okay, the car design looks a little weird, everything looks, you know, cartoony and kiddish. Well, it looks like that because they wanted it to look like that. And I don't mind it now, but I still don't kind of like it. I'm sitting on the fence with it still. It's okay. It looks good on the Wii, though, because that's what the Wii is good at. So now, in summary, For Speed Nitro, good game. Controls could be fixed with buying a GameCube controller, and graphics are pretty decent, and gameplay is fun as hell. This game is a must-buy.